Hello! Welcome to episode 10 of Flosstube. Yarnivorous Flosstube? Flosstube Yarnivorous. Either way, I am Sadie. I will be your hostess with the mostest as much as I can because I am very congested and apparently the cold medications are starting to kick in, so I'm getting a little woo. I'm sure you can attest to that. I have had the flu for like the last week. Well, it was really bad. Now it's kind of normal in that, aside from the fact that I'm like really congested, my body doesn't hurt or bug me, and I think the fever's down now. Whatever. We're all good. We're all good here. Except Bebop, who's having a moment. Okay, babe. There are weed whackers out, and he does not like the sound of weed whackers. Don't ask me why. I can't tell you. He just doesn't like them. So, I don't have a lot to show you this week. I really don't. I wish I did. But I haven't actually been able to do a lot of stitching. What I have been able to do, however, I am very proud of, so let me show you. This is Stevie, as you recall. I have almost finished the top 2 pages. I am hoping to get that done this weekend. I was really working hard on her last night, too. I didn't even do any knitting, which is odd for me. So here, I can hold that up. So all of the top of her is done, minus the beading, which means there is an asinine amount of beads, as you can see. To about here, she's done. And then down here is where you start getting closer to the second pages? I don't know. The top 2 pages are through to about here. But I would like to get this done, the top 2 pages anyway, this weekend. It would make me really happy if I could start moving down further. I have put in a bunch of silks and a bunch of Krennics, and Krennic is kind of a bitch. Sorry for swearing. But it is. I hear it's better than DMC, but really, I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. I don't necessarily feel that Krennic is that much better. It does give you more color variation. It is really pretty and sparkly. I am enjoying knitting with this, I am enjoying cross-stitching with the silks. I am enjoying the colors. I love watching her happen. I'm going to do the back stitching and the beading last. I am not one of the people who has a hate-on for back stitching, so I mean, that's just going to make me happy to backstitch because I know it'll be done. And that's usually what happens, is like, oh look, it's backstitching time, yay! I'm not really opposed to it. Okay, the sun's coming back now. It was gone for a while, now it's coming back. Wish it would make up its mind. But I'm okay with that because, you know, you don't get a lot of sun out in the Pacific Northwest, so the fact that it's really sunny right now is kind of enjoyable. Might take Bebop for a wander. Get some fresh air. Or as much fresh air as my head can take. Because who bippy the pollen? Pollens. Pollens. And I should probably point out to everybody that these little guys are now in the shop. Come here. Come here. There, well, it's going to be hard to show the colors on here. They're easier to photograph. And even then, they're kind of hard because they're so shiny. So shiny. I think this is the one that no one got to see last week. This one is like reds. Reds and grays. It's very... They're all based off of yarn I've dyed, so They are super pretty, and I put them up at in my yarn store, my online yarn store, which is www.knittersnightmare.com. And so I decided to make it easy on myself and just sell them in packs. So it's $10 for a pack, and you get one of each of the colorways. So you get, I don't even know if that's going to show up. No, that's not. Victorian Corset, Purple Haze, Blue Ruin, Sunset on the Sound, and Temptress. You get one of each of them. They are 20 meters of mulberry silk. It's 100% silk, and it's a filament. And they are super shiny and super pretty. Depending on how those are received, I may do more, I may not. It's up to you guys. And that is pretty much everything I had to say this week. I was going to do a tag, but I didn't look one up. I suppose I can. Pause you right here. Okay, so I'm back. I found the tags, which, by the way, if you wanted to, it's afdish.blogspot.com, which is Trisha the Left-Handed Stitcher's Realm of Randomness, cross-stitch tags. I'm going to do the general stitching tag. I may do more tags if I feel like it. How often do you stitch? Once a month, weekly, once a month, once a week, weekly, day. How long is your typical session? Depends. It depends. Several times a week, at least. Sometimes daily. It depends. It depends on what my days are like. If I'm well or not. I don't stitch when I'm sick because I get screwed up. I screw up so much and then I have to rip it out and it just makes me mad. Typical stitching session, an hour, maybe 2. Again, it depends. I like my most often I will stitch when the hubby's gaming and or we're watching TV, and then I'll do it for a couple of TV shows. I might switch out and start knitting, or I may continue to stitch. It depends. Depends on what I'm doing. I'm kind of obsessed with Stevie right now, so she's gonna get a lot of love this week. I can tell you that right now. The knitting's gonna suffer. But the stitching suffered because I wanted to finish the sweater, so 6 of one, half dozen of another. What was the longest one-time session you've ever stitched for? 8 hours? I don't know. All day. All day, basically. I've hurt myself stitching, actually, because I have a chest problem, like a muscular chest problem. I'm from Canada originally, and I pulled my pectoral muscle shoveling snow, which you can do. 4 feet of wet snow is not smart to go shoveling. And so I can re-injure it really easy with repetitive motion, so single-handed really can, or even smooching over, like I have to do a lot of stretching, and I have to make sure I don't do it for a really long period of time anymore, but yeah, I've really hurt myself going over 8 hours. Show your favorite needle minder. I guess my favorite right now. Ping! There you go. Oh, go away! Yeah, I know you're done. It's probably my... Phew. Alright, there we go. Here you go. Goblin King, Jareth. I need to get some more, though. Does Emily from Eclectic Possessions sell hers? Because those are adorable, and I kind of want them. I like her tarot card ones and stuff. I just like the aesthetic of the ones she does. I just like Emily. Can I just like Emily? Is that... Okay. But that's my current favorite. I think I have 3? 4? 4. I want to say 5? I have the bat, the cat, and 2 bowies. Oh, and the crow. So 5. I have 5. Which seems like a lot, but I have no idea where most of them are. They're on projects that are waiting for me to return to them. What does the way you stitch say about you? I have a short attention span. Because I jump around a lot. But I'm the same way with knitting. I have many projects on the go at one time. I'm not a monogamous knitter. I had no intentions of being a monogamous stitcher. It's just not who I am. Is there one piece you stitched that didn't turn out the way you had wanted it to? That would be the Let's Go on an Adventure right now, because the new one came out and I'm like, I haven't even finished Holland. And I really need to get on top of this or it's going to go by the wayside. And I am trying really hard and I just do not care. And I thought it would be bright and spunky and fun like most of the everything Frosted Pumpkin does, but this one's just so blah. So that would be a piece. What do you find the easiest type of pattern to stitch? Ones with large blocks of color. I know some people hate giant blocks of color. I love it. I love it. Just let me not have to think about much and I'm a happy camper. What was the best stitching product you were enabled to buy? Probably needle minders. I had no clue of what they were. And now I've bought them for my mother and my aunt and I'm down with the stitch markers. I am down. So let's see. Okay. That was 5 minutes. I'll give you one more. Or maybe 2. Tips and techniques. Tag. How do you keep your projects clean when you're working on them? I don't eat food while I'm stitching. I've never had that problem. Do you have a tip or technique that hasn't been shared in previous tags that you'd like to share? No. What advice would you share with a newer stitcher? Get a bloody Q-snap. Those hoops are horrible. How's that for nice, huh? Get a bloody Q-snap. Ah. Okay, last one. Okay, this one has 10 questions, so your last one is actually a long one. The chaotic tag. What is your culture / heritage? Where did your ancestors come from? What foods did you grow up eating? Did you grow up with a particular set of beliefs or traditions? I am half Plains Cree, half European mutt, German Russian. I'm brown enough that that's all that matters when I'm back home, and I follow that culture and heritage, the heritage of the Aboriginal people. Although Aboriginal, I don't like Aboriginal because Aborigines are Australian. That's the Australian Aborigines, so I don't like using that. First Nations is very popular. I just call myself an Indian and I get yelled at for it sometimes because we're not supposed to use that word anymore. But that's what I am. Native American, I guess. That's what foods did I grow up eating? Well, where I'm from in Saskatchewan, Canada, it's very populated by Eastern European settlers, so lots of pierogies, cabbage rolls, sour cabbage rolls, the only way to do it, the Kessel cabbage, it's awesome. Lots of that, lots of noodles, and we're very bland food people. Just give us our gravy and our cabbage rolls, we'll be fine. Do you make an effort to pass on the culture you grew up? Are you a part of any counterculture? Are you more of an individualist? I don't know how I would pass it on. I have no children. If I did, they would grow up in the culture. I'm a part of counterculture, I guess, because I am weird. Am I an individualist? Of course I am. I have tattoos. I believe everyone's an individual and has a right to be an individual. However, I'm also a giant freaking hippie. So, I don't know. I'm a pacifist Canadian socialist, so I'm pretty much everything weird. Is there a social issue, cause you're passionate about, whether it be about education, health, the military, human rights, etc.? We need to take better care of our veterans. Because we aren't. And being married to a military member, I know of way too many veterans that are going by the wayside, and we need to take better care of them. I don't care. I may not agree with the wars or whatever, but we need to take care of the people who are actually doing something to keep us safe. Whether or not we believe that they actually need to keep us safe. You know, we need to take better care of our elders on a whole, because it's just sad. Do you have a favorite style or aesthetic? For example, modern, vintage, fantasy. I'm a goth. I'm a hippie and I'm a goth. It's a graver. Is that what we are? Like grave ravers? I just like quirky crap. Do you somehow incorporate any of the above 4 answers into the choice of patterns you choose? Yeah, I choose a lot of gothic stuff, and I choose a lot of stuff that has to do with Halloween. If you were to stitch a person, who would it be? If I were to actually stitch a person, it'd probably be Andre the Giant. Oh, and my shirt says Humperdinck has a brute squad, and it's Andre the Giant. And it says Fezzik, 527'4", which was his last weight. I have an Andre the Giant obsession. I will tell you that right now. Very big Andre the Giant obsession. I have a talking Fezzik doll that I hug when I'm sad. It says, anybody want a peanut and stuff. My husband puts up with it because he's long gone. But I do. That is my person. He's my soul animal, spirit animal. My spirit animal is Andre the Giant. He had a condition called acromyalgia, or acromegaly, depending on how you want to say it, which is a pituitary tumor that secretes growth hormone that causes you to continue growing. When I was 16, 17, I had a pituitary tumor removed myself, and mine was a prolactinoma, which grew down instead of up, so it caused my body to believe it was pregnant for several years before I had it removed. So the surgery I had would have saved him from everything he went through, but then he would never have been so big, which is the question. So I feel like we've got a connection, if you will. I have a connection to Andre the Giant. We both have the same tumor. So there's a little something for you. It just went off on a tangent, but I would totally stitch him. So if someone that wants to do a pick to pat and send that to me, I will totally do it, because I am not above it. Do you know of a little-known designer that you would like to let us know about? I showed you the Lena Lawson, which I'm obsessed with, except for that one that someone said I should burn it. It's like, yeah, maybe I should. What direction do you lay your top crosses? Is there a reason for that? That way? So they go that way. Usually, I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason, just so long as they all go the same way. Are there any rules or popular methods you don't follow in cross stitch, and why? I have no rules. Rules are for breaking. If you get it done, it doesn't matter. If someone were to find your FFOs or your whip pile in 100 years, when you're long gone, what might they say, think about you? Man, she liked cats and owls and Halloween and apparently white ladies doing things. That is what they are going to say about me. And seriously, what I'm going... She liked Halloween stuff and cats And apparently mermaids and white ladies doing junk. Well, that's an extra 13 minutes full of tags for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next week where I will actually have some progress. Until then, happy stitching.